The Kansas City Chiefs have signed themselves a new defense against the dark arts wide receiver in Justin Lockhart out of San Jose State. Now, here's something that I have to say. I know that I said I was done making videos on the UDFAs. And guys, I thought I was. I did not even see this guy's name pass through, and I decided to check out his uh, footage. Very little information on him out there, but there's a lot of, you can find him on YouTube pretty easy. And I wanted to just peruse and figure out what was going on there. And guys, I, I know I say this with all these guys. I think there's a chance here. I think this might be an NFL wide receiver. We're going to go over the reasons why here. This is his college career. Somehow went freshman, sophomore, junior, sophomore, senior. Also skipped a year, 2023. But we'll get to that in a moment. His first year at Nevada, he had 5 receptions for 33 yards, nothing particularly compelling there. The next year, 27 receptions, 241 yards, decent season. Then 35 receptions for 470 yards. That's a 13.4 yard average. Now you're getting into pretty good territory there. After that, he decides to transfer to San Jose State, where he catches 36 passes for 578 yards and a touchdown. That is a 16.1 yard average. And in 2024, he caught 53 passes for 983 yards. That is an 18.5 yard average with 5 touchdowns. Now, before we get into the analysis of things, I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to shake things up in the wide receiver core this season. I don't just mean on the roster, I mean on the practice squad too. You have guys like Montrell Washington who had stuck around for a while. Justin Ross has stuck around for a while. Justin Ross, by the way, looks good during his time training with Mahomes this offseason, but we will see what happens there. You have Juju Smith-Schuster, who has re-signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're going to shake things up because they know they've got those top 4. So what does that mean? You've got those top 4 guys. You have Rashee Rice, likely facing suspension. You have Xavier Worthy, who is very, very fast, made large strides in his rookie season, had a great Super Bowl performance, but is undersized. You have Hollywood Brown, who we just have to admit at this point has a huge injury history. And then you have Jalen Royals, in my opinion, at that 4 spot. Those are all guys that you know can play football. Jalen Royals less so because he is a rookie, but guys, that was a second-round guy. He just ended up falling, and that's what happens in the draft sometimes. But I think they know those 4 guys, and also Jalen Royals spent some time injured last year as well. So you've got those top 4 guys, but there are some question marks. Still, would be catastrophe for 3 of those guys to go down, right? And I hate to even tempt the fates with saying that, but you understand what I'm saying. You only carry so many wide receivers for a reason. I think the Chiefs this season, because of the way the last 3 years have gone for Mahomes and this offense, will be tempted to shake things up and keep some big play threats on the roster, which means I think probably Juju is gone at this point. We'll have to see what happens in camp, but there are so many big play threats that the Kansas City Chiefs have in this UDFA class, in guys who are kind of on the bottom half of the roster, etc., that I think they roll the dice this year and keep more of them than normal, and then end up with a couple on the practice squad too, which would create room for someone like Justin Lockhart to end up making the team. So what are we looking at with Justin Lockhart? Well, got this tweet from, retweeted by Justin Lockhart on Twitter from Matt Barrows. San Jose State wide receiver Justin Lockhart was clocked at a 4.39 second 40-yard dash at the school's Pro Day Wednesday. Lockhart had 53 catches, 983 yards. He and fellow wide receiver Nick Nash, Paddywhack, was one of the big names in the UDFA market. So just to go to show you what was going on there, and he had one of those types of names next to him and still put up 983 yards. Other reports, this from Chiefs.com, Lockhart, who stands 6'2", 198 pounds, caught 53 passes, 983 yards, 5 touchdowns, had an 18.5 yards per catch average, led the Mountain West. He recorded a 4.42 second 40-yard dash. So disparity between those numbers there, but that's what happens when it's not electronically timed. Then we get a little blurb from San Jose State University Spartans.com, SJSU Spartans.com. Lockhart, a wide receiver from Los Angeles, California, also made a strong comeback in 2024 after missing the previous season due to injury. He posted career highs across the board with 53 receptions, 983 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Lockhart led the Mountain West Conference in yards per reception, ranking 18th nationally. At San Jose State's Pro Day, he impressed by running a 4.39 second 40-yard dash. So you have 3 reports there that are kind of around the same vicinity there. Why did he miss the 2023 season? Well, the nearest I can tell, it is listed as a hand-arm injury. I don't know what that means. I couldn't find any more information on it than that. Looking at his tape, he's a good route runner. He's not a great route runner. He gets to where he's supposed to be, and he's open when he gets there. But he's not one of these guys that is super springy in his routes. I don't think he has a whole lot of moves off the ball. It seems that so he just outclassed a lot of cornerbacks in college in the Mountain West. But also schools like Washington State, schools like Oregon State, I won't say dominated, but made some of those corners look silly at times. Those aren't bad teams. I don't think he has a whole lot of repertoire off the ball. So a lot of these times, he's just straight up outclassing these corners. So that is one thing you have to worry about, but he has the physicality to him that he could learn other things, right? He could learn the tricks of the trade. He catches the ball in stride very well, and we're going to get to this in a couple of points here, but not always the greatest throws, and being able to catch the ball and keep forward momentum at times with these types of throws was pretty impressive. He is, like that average per reception showed you there, a big play threat. He is a big play threat. These weren't catch the ball at the line of scrimmage, break a tackle, or get a good block and you're gone. No. These passes, 30 yards of air time or air yards under them. This is a big play wide receiver. If that translates to the NFL. One reason to think perhaps he will have some skill transfer to the NFL, he never had a good quarterback throwing him the ball. This could be a real unlock for him. Now, a lot of wide receivers get to the NFL, and obviously they've never had a Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball because Patrick Mahomes is like Tigger, and the best thing about him is he's the only one. So that's not unusual to have the greatest quarterback you've played with be Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. So you can say that about basically anybody who has come through the ranks of wide receiver here. But it's different. It is different. So just to jump forward in the commentary here a little bit, there was one game I was watching and heard the commentary. San Jose State went through 5 quarterbacks in a single game at one point. So unless I heard that wrong, maybe I am mistaken. But if that is true, that is a special kind of ineptitude at that position. There were numerous times where he would beat a corner over the top and end up having to make a back corner fade catch. So he's racing down the field. The corner's 3 yards behind him. The ball is so poorly thrown, he has to turn. The corner catches up to him, and he makes a back shoulder grab. That is an impressive feat to beat the corner over the top and underneath in the same go route. So yeah, this is a guy who never had a proper quarterback throwing him the ball, and it could mean, like, it's hard to tell exactly how good a guy is when you're not feeding him the rock from a consistent quarterback, because all sorts of you don't know how to read the release point. You don't know if the ball is going to be there. I imagine, especially in San Jose State, there are times where it's very, very hot. Maybe you're losing. Your quarterback's not very good. Are you tempted to hot dog it on a route, right? But it seemed pretty consistent to me. There are times in watching his games where you can see the quarterback. And remember, not a good quarterback. He's back there and he just goes and throws it as hard as he can. You see that on tape. Not literally, but there's times where that quarterback's back. It doesn't look like San Jose State had a terrible offensive line, just no quarterbacks. So the guy's back there and he's got time, and it's like he doesn't know what else to do. So he says, screw it, I'll try this. I imagine that there are gamers among us. I am not a gamer, but I remember things similar from when I was a gamer. Remember when the Chiefs had Tyreek Hill and they had Patrick Mahomes, and there's times where you snap the ball, can't figure out what to do, and you say, well, screw it, and you press square, and you just tap it, and you got a rainbow going downfield to Tyreek Hill just in case it worked. That's what his quarterbacks were doing, and guys, sometimes it worked. Now, in negative here, he is not strictly a hands catcher. There are times where he is cradling the ball into his body. Not what you want to see, but obviously if he is making the catch, then you kind of look the other way. But again, something that he could work. He has good hands. So he had to make so many off-target catches that you can tell he has good hands. So it might just be a function of comfort, right? A lot of these were when the ball was on a rope towards him, he would just do the thing where he puts his hands down and kicks his legs out. You see wide receivers do that a lot. So not the biggest thing in the world, not the biggest sin in the world, but you probably don't want to see it at the NFL level. Patrick Mahomes throws that ball so hard it's going to bounce off of your shoulder pads. Honestly, and this is not going to make Mr. Lockhart any friends here, he reminds me of Green Bay Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Watching his tape, he reminds me of Green Bay Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Also, he doesn't snap his routes the way that Ocho Cinco used to, but Ocho had that way about him where he was always open, and Lockhart is like that. I think that obviously, I don't have the short shuttle numbers, I don't have the 3-cone drill numbers, anything like that, but I think he looks like a guy who can run pretty crisp routes. He just doesn't. So if he can work on that, he could move from Marquez Valdes-Scantling to Ocho Cinco. Again, not saying he's either of these players. I mean, I understand that we all have our feelings about Marquez Valdes-Scantling, but he was an NFL player for a very long time. He had some good seasons in the NFL. He came up big a couple times in Kansas City. It is a little bit disrespectful to compare a guy who was a UDFA to him, but I think you're looking at the ceiling here. And I'm not saying he's Ocho Cinco, but he does have some of those qualities about him where he's seemingly always open and he fights for the ball. Now, obviously, he wasn't going up against big school guys, not always, though he did a few times. And like I said with the Ocho Cinco comparison, Lockhart was just always open. The only time you saw him make contested catches was because the throw was so poor he had to come back to the ball into contestation. So that is, it'll be interesting to see him with Mahomes on the field. Now, at some point, I'm going to be back with one more video, I think, on one more guy, but not a guy who was a UDFA. From everything I can tell, Lockhart signed a UDFA contract. Dante Cephas is a guy that I have had my eye on for quite some time. He signed a mini camp invite. I might be back with a video on him. Anyway, that's what I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. We are over 2 years now of consecutive daily Chiefs content, so consider sticking around for that. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.